Another one of my late night talks. It's raining right now. By the way, if you guys don't travel, I would highly recommend it. I think it's pretty cool to switch up your day-to-day life. That tripped me out. I'm walking and it's not raining. And I walk back and it's raining on me. I'm at the edge of the cloud. That's actually crazy. Traveling is pretty cool. You open yourself up to new experiences, a different lifestyle change, and I think it's good to kind of break a pattern after a certain while. If you kind of get stuck in the routine of just working and getting caught up in life and other bullshit, I think traveling's pretty cool, Definitely worth checking out. But what I'm trying to get at is I'm trying to think of a way to bring this into words. Being disciplined pays off when you need it the most, in a sense that working hard now saves your ass in the long run. And I'll break that down. And what I mean by that is I've been, getting back onto the grind. I haven't worked out in a while. And I was working out for like 2-ish weeks, and it was good. I was kind of learning how to take on harder tasks. And I was doing good, I was completing it. I was doing the hard work. And I kind of slipped up into old habits again, which it happens, But I think what I'm trying to deduce is that the 2 weeks of effort override the 1 or 2 days that I had that were bad. And I think it's such a beautiful thing, because it's like I could beat myself up, which I did a little bit, like, oh fuck, I fucked up, I didn't work out this week, yada yada yada, which I don't think is the correct way to come at it. Obviously you gotta forgive yourself to move on, but me putting in the work before saved my ass, because I'm like, damn, like now I can like jump back into the program with it being smooth. So I'm like, this is cool, like I can do this again, and it's easier now. And I realize the more I do the hard work, the easier it gets, and the better outcome that I had, the more desirable outcome that I want in life, I get a little bit closer to that, and my identity begins gravitating towards that ideal version. And I think it's pretty cool, because people talk about things, and there's so many self-help advice and tips and all this shit, but once you actually start putting it into practice and you actually see it work and happen, you're like, oh, this is actually like, oh I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool to see your work, your hard work override everything. And I think that's such a dope thing, because it's like, you can kind of tell when somebody has walked the walk and can talk the talk. So I think it's a beautiful thing, because you can say you've been through the trial and error of X, Y, and Z, and whatever, how this ever applies into your life. But I think it's also beautiful, because you get the confidence that comes from it. You get to reap the rewards that come from it. You get whatever fruits that you bring from it, Just the observation, I'm like, that's pretty cool. My hard work does pay off, The hard work doesn't pay off until it pays off, and it was a bummer while I was working out and being disciplined and staying on top of all this shit and booking photo shoots and checking emails and staying on top of this shit deadass, I haven't taken a day off in 2 weeks. It's Monday through Friday, work, Saturday, Sunday, shoots, getting paid, doing some shit to get me forward a little bit. And I'm not complaining. I mean, that's the part of the grind that I'm choosing right now, I choose to work. and I wouldn't say I don't get tired, but I know how to keep going forward. And it's just, like I'm saying again, it's nice to put a little solid confidence, a nice little solid reward or flower saying, wow, you did this, you accomplished it, you can do it again. And I think that's just pretty cool, because you have bragging rights in a sense. You could say, hey, I've been through this. I know some days I'm feeling lazy, and don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect, Other days I would drag myself through the workout. There was literally a day my laziness took longer than my workout. I sat in my gym for an hour and a half before I even fucking worked out, But looking back on that, I'm glad I pushed myself through that hardness, because it put me in a position where I want to be. And every time I travel, every time I'm outside, I have regrets. I'm like, damn, I didn't talk to this person, or damn, I should have took this photo, or damn, I wish I went here, and X, Y, and Z, or it's like, damn, I wish I would have worked a little harder so I could have a little more money, so I could have bought this thing that would have been cool to have. And I think my biggest regret is not working harder now to save myself in those situations where that could have been paid off. And it has paid off, thankfully. But it's just, this is my own experience. This is my own 2 cents. This is what I believe in. But I believe that it works. I'm like, okay, damn, you can work hard now and just enjoy your fruits later. Like, okay, I worked my ass for a while. 2 weeks, got paid, which is good. Worked a couple gigs, shot a couple shit. I got to pay off my credit card. I'm debt-free, which is pretty cool. Almost debt-free. I'm waiting till the other month so I can pay it off, and then I get my points for my credit card. Build that credit, by the way. But I think it's like, damn, okay, I put a little pep into the step, I put a little grease in the arm, and it worked out, And I think my brain is rewiring itself. Your brain's a computer. You can train it what to do. And I'm starting to realize that there's so much more gratitude and reward chasing positive things and grinding than chasing other little things, because realistically it came to the point of me exhausting my options of other shit, of making excuses and putting it off, and it's just not rewarding. It was rewarding for the first couple seconds or minutes or hours or whatever postponing thing that I was doing, playing games or bullshitting, but it's never truly fulfilling, it was only temporarily. And don't get me wrong, I still do it. I still play games every now and then, I still go to car meets or go hang out. You gotta have fun. That's simply balance of life. But I've come to realize that I enjoy the process more of grinding than bullshitting, because I've been able to at least enjoy the fruits and the labor and have the bragging rights and have a little more confidence in myself. And I realized, okay, this is pretty cool. This is something I would much rather do. I would rather do option A than option B. And I've been through option B so many times and it never worked. So I'm like, let me just try the other option. And it worked. And I'm like, let me just try it again and again. And I think the goal that I'm setting for myself, I know the goal that I'm setting for myself. And I wouldn't say it seems more difficult. Things seem difficult until you break it down. But I think the thing that I've been giving myself as a constant reminder is to take a step into the person you want to become, or take a step into the life you want to build, the identity you want to create, the business you want to do every day, even if it's just a small step. And for me, it's hard taking that first small step because I just get lazy and I just get caught up in bullshit, But I'm like, okay, and I told myself, I'm like, I know there's going to be days that I'm fucking lazy, that I want to bullshit, that I just want to chill, I just want to go home, I don't want to do shit, I just want to doom scroll, eat some fucking ice cream, which does sound good. But I have given myself the discipline to be like, let me take a step forward, just a baby step forward every day into the person I want to become. So it's like, whether I want to work out, okay, even if I'm not going to do a crazy whole bunch of workouts and shit, let me do a couple push-ups, until failure. Let me do a couple squats. Let me bike it up a little bit, get the cardio. But I believe a little bit every day truly gets shit done. A little bit every day truly does wonder, because there was a point in time where I'd try to do everything in one day and I'd exhaust myself so much and I would get frustrated and like, why am I not seeing results? And it was annoying. I was in a constant cycle where I wasn't seeing results and I was pissed and I was frustrated. And then I was frustrated, so I'd put all my frustration in one day and try to cram everything, and then I wouldn't have any results done, and then it was just a continuous thing, which I'm like, great. That was the option B, as I'm really tying that back. This was option B, where I'm like, it's just not working out. And I stopped and I said, hey, you know what, let me just take a small step. Even the days that I felt like taking a huge step and I knew I could do it, and I was like, let me just go at it. I was like, let me just not even limit myself. Let me stick to the program accordingly. I know there's some days I could take a big step, and there's other days I could take a small step, and there's other days where I just want to walk back or don't even want to step or just lay down and sleep. But I'm like, every day, just a little bit. Just a little bit. And it's really not that hard. You just give yourself the choice. Hey, this is what you want to do, X, Y, and Z, whatever, blah, 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 bullshit, yada, yada, yada thing you want to do. And just take a little step. You're closing the distance, you're taking a little step forward towards it. And it's cool, and then eventually it comes to a point where you're like, you've taken so many steps, despite how you're feeling, despite whatever, you've taken so many steps that you've become you're closer to where you're trying to get than to where you were. So it's like, sometimes it's disheartening, sometimes it's hard, sometimes you have setbacks. Like, I still have a crazy setback. Like, I got a fat ass medical bill from some bullshit for a couple $1,000. I don't know how I'm gonna afford it. The U.S. healthcare system is fucked up. Some fucked up shit. But like, I'm just like, cool. It's like, I'm not letting it discombobulate me and all that shit. But I'm like, let me just take a little step forward. Just a little bit. And you build that force, that immovable force that is so strong, and you're taking so many good guided steps, and they're just small little guided steps that you almost become impossible. You learn to regulate yourself more, you learn to build discipline, you just learn yourself more, and you just become unstoppable. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because I think people truly limit themselves. I think people are scared to try things or to put effort into things, and you'd be surprised about the shit that you can pull off if you really, really push for it. They say, oh, everything in alignment, or sorry, let me rephrase that. What am I trying to say? You can definitely not even force the process. You can definitely push your way through to get what you want. And I don't mean that in a negative connotation. I mean that in a sense like, you can really strive if you have true focus, true discipline. You can really get shit done in a short amount of time. But we get distracted. The food that we eat isn't healthy, which leads to so many other issues. you just get lazy, after work you're tired and all this shit, and there's too many distractions in this world, I think that's a whole nother conversation, but I think I'm gonna end it off from there, just because this is a lot. This is just my nightly walk that I'm taking to help me go to bed, because I have too much fucking energy sometimes. But that's just my 2 cents. That's all.